It's the end of an era in the Northern Lakes League. No, we're not talking about the expansion that will begin next year, but there's no longer Sean Craig in the NLL. The Northview stalwart now playing at the University of Indianapolis. And so the Wildcats, they were undefeated in the league a season ago, but all of a sudden Jerry McDonald's got some new pieces to use this year.
A lot of new pieces, but we can summarize them like this. Big, bigger, biggest, because they're going to put a lot of size on the floor this year. 6'7", 6'7", then off the bench they're going to bring 6'11". Good luck. All right, now just a matter of all the young pieces that are going to be around that size. How well do they gel together collectively, and how well do they adjust to varsity basketball? The size, the speed, the skill set is going to be interesting to see how all that materializes. But Coach McDonald, year in and year out, does a great job in skilling his kids, preparation, game to game, and he'll have them ready each and every night. But that's a team it's going to be pay attention to, because nobody in this area can put that size on the floor. Just a matter with the pieces around them and how they gel.
Well, you're talking about Alan Horton, 6'7", freshman. Eckelmeyer, 6'7", Logan Horton, 6'11". And I happen to know both their parents. I know them. I know the Sokolskis, and Al Horton. Al was a hockey player. I have no idea how your sons are playing basketball. But then again, hey, you're about 6'4" yourself. But yes, they do pretty well. And I always watch his stuff on Facebook. They train. So I think they're going to be tough. And how do you deal with that size? Yeah. I mean, that's a, you think about it, that's like a Division I front line. We're talking about 6'7", 6'7", 6'11". You're not going to find that in the MAC.
Perrysburg Yellow Jackets, you know what you're going to get out of a Dave Boyce coach team. They're going to be solid, fundamental, and they were in second place in the NLL a year ago. Obviously, they lose a couple of key players, but I think Perrysburg might be the preseason favorites in the NLL.
I think they got to be. The Hunt brothers are back, right? A lot of size and length with them. And then Matt Watkins, who seems like he's been there for his 8th year, at Perrysburg. He's been there for a while now, a very productive player too. And so I agree, because Coach Boyce, as we know, 75 sets, plays that matchup zone defensively. So they're ready to go each and every ball game. And I think with the rest of the league around them, and we'll get to the other teams, there's a lot of turnover with some of these other teams. So I think he's got the most coming back. You said just second place this season ago, so we'll see how that all shakes out.
They got guys that can score. You talk about the Hunts, you talk about Watkins. Whenever you have guys that can score, you have a chance. Those guys understand the system really well. We know what's going to happen. They're going to hit you with a couple of those backdoor cuts. But they got guys that can knock down threes. That, to me, is where they're going to really excel. I think they're going to score on that three-point line. And they got big guys, the Hunts, they like to dunk too. Dad's athletic in the Central Catholic Hall of Fame. We know about all that.
Anthony Wayne took a little bit of a step back last season, never really quite got into the groove. Are the Generals an improved team this year?
I think they're an improved team, especially with the turnover with the teams around them. But they bring back Parker Schofield. It was their first or second all-state soccer, first or second leading scorer on their team last year. And they're going to get Griffin Pike back, a kid that was in their junior high system, went to Central Catholic last year. He's back at Anthony Wayne. And so that's definitely going to help as well. And I believe they got Grant Kinney too. Yeah, he's back too for them. So I think you'll see an improved Anthony Wayne team this year. They got some experience back, and some, with Pike back, it gives them another score.
Well, you guys know where I'm going to go with it. I mean, they have a tradition for winning, too, on the gridiron. And those guys are always tough, and they always play you from the start of the game to the finish. And it's going to be a rough win for those guys. They're going to beat you up. They're going to make the game ugly like they've traditionally done. And if you get caught up in that, don't be surprised they win a few.
Talking about tradition on the gridiron, Southview in football, a bounce-back season for the Cougars. Will that carry over to hoops?
Well, they've lost some key pieces, but Micah Bays is back for them, who had played a lot last year in the perimeter for Southview, and they got Avery Offenberg back as well, the quarterback, the signal caller, the straw that stirs the drink, if you will. So he's back. Michael Alexander's back too. So those are 3 guys with varsity experience. But again, I think it's a good time to have some turnover, because a lot of teams are going through it in the NLL. So night in and night out, it just takes 1-2 wins, and that gets the ball rolling. So we'll see what happens with them.
Bowling Green and Napoleon were middle of the pack last season. They were both 7-7 in the league. Can either one of those teams break out of that middle of the pack? Well,
Bowling Green has a lot of momentum coming back. Coach Roth did a great job with them last year. Brock Hastings is back, one of their leading scorers, which he's a tremendous athlete. So a lot of momentum off of what they were able to do a season ago, double-digit wins. And, we'll see how, because sometimes that's all you need is confidence. And when you got confidence, who knows what can happen. So a great year last year. We'll see what they can do.
Finally, in the NLL, bottom of the league a season ago, Springfield and Maumee. Blue Devils, a lot to build on for Springfield. They did not win an NLL game a season ago. Of course, Maumee, their final year in the NLL. Are these some dangerous teams at the bottom?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them at the bottom of that league. But, hey, the only place you can go is up. Right. And if you're a player in those respective programs, there's a lot of playing time to be had. So you got to be hungry. And like I said, they said confidence. You get 1 or 2 wins, look out.
Remember how they lost, too. They lost some games that were winnable last year.
Yeah.
They had a few chances where they could have maybe, at the end of the game, they gave it away. But they always have athletes out at Springfield, so who knows what can happen. And like you say, there's not a lot of pressure. You might see some young guys come up, and who knows. Last
season for the NLL. Next year it'll be the Buckeye and Cardinal divisions. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out in terms of basketball. And you're going to play some home and homes, but then your other division, you're going to play those guys once a year. So it'll be an interesting era in the NLL beginning in 23-24.